There's a story about a man who used to go and spend lots and lots of time in the church, and he would be praying and sitting there for hours at a time. And somebody said to him once, he said, "You must have a lot to complain to God about." And he said, "Oh no." He said, "I go in there," and he said, "I look at God and I allow God to look back at me." That's what prayer is, and that's what was happening with Mary, is she was letting God look back at her. That's powerful. That's a hard thing to do, really, isn't it? Because we sometimes can feel so unworthy that we say, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, don't look at me." But practice that. Practice letting God sees you all the time anyway. Practice letting yourself know that God's looking at you with eyes of love. God's not mean. With eyes of love, and hear God calling your name. So Jesus said to her, "Do not hold on to me, because I've not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I'm ascending to my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God." So that's about that idea of when we do get it, that the Christ is within us, that the Christ is loving us, is within us, is seeing us, is calling our name, that we are connected. We don't grab a hold of it and squeeze the life out of it. We go, "Oh," and we open out into it so that it can ascend even higher, bringing us with it, expanding our lives. So Mary Magdalene, the soul, went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. So the soul goes and spreads the good news and says, "I've seen the Lord. I know what I know. I know who I am. I know who God is. And I know that I am loved. I know that I am in relationship with God." And that's what we do, is it not? And by that, I don't mean necessarily that we go out and stand on the street corner and thump the Bible. Probably that's not effective. My experience of that. Okay. But what we do is that in our lives, in every moment, we give forth that light. We give forth that good. We see the Christ in ourselves. We see the Christ in every person. So if we want to rise, as we follow this story, it's going to take us three things. One, as Mary and the disciples did, we're going to have to be willing to proactively move toward what we love. If you want to know what the Christ in you is all about, let yourself know what it is that lights up your life. Let yourself know what it is that interests you. Let yourself know what it is that puts the light in your eyes, and follow that. Follow that sound. Spend your time in prayer and meditation, and let yourself hear what's going on in your world, what's going on in your heart, what's going on in your life. So the first thing is that if we want to rise, we must be willing to follow that which we truly love, which is the deepest longing and the fulfillment. We must be willing to follow our soul. The second thing, if we want to rise, as Mary did, as the soul did, is we must persist, right? Don't give up. We must persist, as she did, standing there at that tomb and communicating with the angels and communicating with Jesus. And the third thing that we must do if we want to rise is we must be willing to be amazed. Let's pray.